welcome to Illusion of Gaia. Alright, so before I introduce the game, I'm going to introduce a little bit what I'm currently be doing. So in 100%, what we have to do... Yeah, thanks for the good luck, everybody. Hi everyone, hi, I'm the gamer. Abs, Duckfist, all the people. So, 100% requires me to get all 50 red gems throughout the game, and that opens up entrance to a secret dungeon that I will also have to beat, and then beat the normal game. So that's the requirement for 100%. And if you know this game, you know that in the very first town, South Cape, there is a very annoying red gem that is required for Hundo. It's the Fisherman Red Jewel. And the Fisherman's appearance is due to RNG and nothing more. So if you play this game as a kid or casually, you probably had trouble figuring out how to get the Fisherman to finally catch the gem. But yeah, there's no real strategy to it because it's only RNG. Whenever you get out of a house or something, RNG will decide whether the Fisherman is going to appear in the right spot or not. It's that and nothing more. Nothing more. But fortunately, a few months ago, I figured out a strat. We knew for a long time ago that RNG is actually regenerated in a certain place of the demo loop, and I'm going to let the demo loop play out until a certain spot, and then I will press start. So it's pretty precise. So I'm going to use the music as a cue. So it's coming up. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I should be good. So now RNG is set up to a certain value. It is going to help me get the Fisherman's Jewel immediately. It's not easy though, so that was just the easy part. But now that we're ready with RNG, we can actually start the game. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, go! Okay, this is Illusion Gaia. So welcome to it if you don't know this game. It's an ARPG released in 93 or 94, I don't remember, by Quintet. They are really famous for having made some really good games on the SNES, especially the ActRaisers, Soul Blazer, this game and Terranigma, Robotic as well. So really soon we're going to see if I failed the manipulation or not. Okay, so this guy was looking left when I exited the school, so this should be good. So now I'm going to wait a bit here. Ah, it was not too early. We'll see, we'll see. If it was too early, that's going to be a bummer. Okay, it wasn't. Oh, I'm glad. Okay, we got it. So there, surprise, the Fisherman was just there. So that was the result of the manipulation. So I already got all 3 red gems from this town. The one on the roof of the school, which actually is supposed to be a church. Another one in Lance's house. And the last one in the Fisherman's jar. So here, the story is my father and another one of my friend's father went for an expedition a year ago, and we haven't seen them again, so we're preparing on some sort of journey to try to figure out what happened to him. So this is gonna carry us around a lot, around the world, to various locations which do exist in reality, like the pyramids or Angkor Wat, or sometimes exist in actual mythologies. So yeah, this game is a lot about human culture and history, if you want. Okay, so now a little bit about the speedrun. This is actually a really solid speedrun, I think, a speed game. But a lot of people have been reluctant in trying to learn this because in this game there's no run button. There's no button dedicated to running, it's just double tapping the direction you want to run to. And that's sort of annoying. It requires you to have a pretty good left thumb. It's all in your left thumb. But yeah, you can get over it. It's something that you can master with some practice. Alright. So here we're just preparing what's happening in the story. So the princess Kara, she escaped from the castle, and for some reason she decided to get to my house, and soldiers found her, brought her back to the castle. And I'm gonna have to go to the castle because the king wants to see me for some reason. Later we're gonna discover that he actually have something, or he thinks I have something that he wants, that's gonna launch the rest of the history, the rest of the story. Sorry. Okay. This game is a little bit mysterious in the way, in the narrative, in the way the game is, the story is told. I don't remember all the details also, so I won't talk too much about that. So I'm going to talk about the speedrun techniques instead. So to start out, well, there's a lot of text mashing in this game. And in that regard, maybe you didn't notice, but before the game actually started, I selected the control scheme number 2, because there are just 2 possible control schemes. So you can either attack with A and use items with B, or attack with B and use items with Y, and I prefer the latter. It's not really because of the attacking or the item usage. It's more because it's more efficient to skip through text. Because with control scheme 2, the A button is still can still be used to mash through text and nothing else. So if you're mashing through text while talking to an NPC or something, you can mash A and make sure that you will not talk again to the NPC by accident, or swing your sword for no reason and lose time, this kind of thing. So yeah, I can even use 3 buttons to mash through text, so that's really convenient. I can mash 2 or 3, depending on what's active. If I might use an item with Y, then I will not mash it. Yeah, this kind of thing. Depending on the circumstances, I will use a different number of buttons to mash through text. But talking about text, this, you probably noticed that I'm playing the US version, whereas a vast majority of RPGs are generally played in Japanese, because Japanese is really often faster, but it's not at all the case for Illusion of Gaia. Ironically, because of text, in this game the Japanese version is more than 20 minutes slower. Because every single text box in the Japanese version is slow. It's drawn like this one. So there's actually no text box in the Japanese version that you can skip immediately, like in 1 frame. And in the US and European version, which is by the way called Illusion of Time, most of the text boxes appear in one setting, like immediately, and you can skip it in 1 frame. So this is really convenient. Okay, here I just did what we call the orb cancel glitch. Normally, by killing this enemy, which is required to progress, it releases an orb which is going to reveal a path and open up a door inside a wall. And normally you have to wait for that animation to complete before you can actually go through the door. But if you go to the menu after the orb has appeared and go back, well, you don't have to wait for the rest of the animation before the effects, because the effect is already in place. That's what I mean. I'm pretty unlucky here. I'm gonna have to wait. I don't like waiting. Yeah, that was unlucky. That was a case of having to wait for the spear drop, because there's a trigger for the spear to fall down, and this trigger is just a single tile, so it's not random at all. But when you activate it, there's a random timer which starts. And that is going to decide how much time is left before the spear actually drops. So if you just have bad luck, you don't even have enough time to to get past before it drops, and that's what happened there. So I was pretty unlucky. Here I played Lola's Melody for the first time because it seems to be required here. I have to wait until 3 to use that switch. So here I'm gonna go to the left and turn into Freelan. That's gonna be required, by the way, because I cannot reach a switch, the switch which was on the on the right side of the bridge. I have to press the switch to make a bridge appear, but unfortunately Will's sword does not reach. So I have to turn into a new character, which is really badass. He's called Freelan, and his sword has a better reach. Having Freelan also gives me 1 more health point, which is pretty cool. So I was really hurt, and it's pretty easy to die in this dungeon, so I prefer to talking to Gaia and heal. It's better for some marathon safety. Okay, there I did another orb cancel, so that the animation of the blocks exploding is still being carried out, but I don't have to wait for it because the effect is already in place when you get out of the inventory. So if you're familiar with Illusion of Gaia speedrunning and watched the previous runs by Puaxel or other people, you probably noticed that I did not empty my inventory like we used to do. Because what Puaxel used to do, and we used to do for a long time, is whenever you have to go to the inventory anyway to perform an orb cancel, you can also use that opportunity to select one of your red jewels and use it, because if you use a red jewel as an item, it cleans it away from your inventory. It's already goes to the jeweler. He's the guy who's supposed to collect all of them. So it just cleans it from your inventory, and you don't have to. It doesn't take up a spot because your inventory is limited. You can only carry 16 items, so it makes sense to use them along. But I'm actually not doing it because you're really lucky. But I'm going to use a strategy which was invented by Krog, a really great runner for SNES games. And he came up with a strat which is technically not faster, but is going to provide me a lot of safety for this marathon with a pretty minimal cost. The strategy is go talk to Gem in Phrygia. So this way, this will get me rid of all the red gems then. So I won't have to worry about them. Okay, so we got the leg of yak. Yeah, as you see, the leg of yak is such an important item with the text box, the super slow text box. So you know, that's the thing in this game. It's going to be useful. Yeah, you will see. And here I'm going back home, and oh my god, everything is a mess. It's because the jackal went here. That's his picture on the wall. And the jackal is supposed to be a character who follows us all along in the whole game, but you only hear of him in the very beginning and the very end. Like the game doesn't even care about keeping track of him. Okay, and here we're going to play Lola's Melody again, because it seems that Lola has a connection with Lily, the girl who can turn into a dandelion. And this is her village, but the village is not there. Well, it's only there when you can play this song for some reason. So now it's going to become a little bit cutscene again. But fortunately, to not have to wait for the girls to reach their next position, I can just enter this cabin and get out. So the girls are already here, and I don't have to wait for them to get here. It doesn't save a lot of time, but still a little bit. So I'm pretty glad that I healed at the previous Gaia space, so now I have full health, which is convenient for the next dungeon. And here I'm receiving the first power, and oddly enough, you don't actually receive this new ability when the glowing ball comes to you. You already receive it when you touch the statue. So this is why you saw me flashing already. And that's actually a strat, because if you face the statue and use a charge dash against it, you get moved back by a couple pixels, which brings you closer to the entrance. And that saves probably like a frame or two in exiting the Gaia's lair. So that's actually a strat. Alrighty, we have statue A. So now let's get out of here. Hey Mira, thanks. So here it's not possible to use the recoil from the previous jump to climb this hill. So it's better to kill your forward momentum immediately by banging into a wooden pole and then go around. You can get close to climbing the full thing, but you can't. So you would lose your time trying to do that. So it's better to just kill your momentum immediately and go around. Here you have to talk to them, answer whatever. And this is a very annoying challenge for the speedrun. Okay. This is okay RNG so far. This is pretty bad now. Okay, it could have been worse. Actually, it could have been much worse. I'm not complaining too much. Okay, yeah, this to get Incan Statue B, you had to defeat 6 enemies within 20 seconds, which is actually pretty hard. I occasionally fail this. Fortunately, their RNG was decent enough, because it's really RNG reliant actually. Yeah, because when you get close to them, they can go in any direction they want. So if they don't want to gather, or if they're all going in separate ways, then it can be really terrible, and there's nothing you can do. My strategy is generally to charge a dash and go at the left of them, so you can get at least the first 2 and maybe the first 3 if you're lucky. There I couldn't, but I still managed to beat the challenge. Hey Kroik, what's up? Okay, let's go. So there I'm using dashes in order to get rid of a lot of enemies, which is going to be really useful. So here I want to kill this guy because he really sees a shortcut for later. I have to go here in order to get a diamond block, which I will use in the previous room. And the last guy that I killed released the shortcut. So yeah, this is the shortcut. Yeah, I'm trying to swag sometimes. So this is a glitch called guard dashing. Normally, when you press L or R, in any of the shoulder buttons, you guard, which also uses your telekinesis power. And you're not supposed to be able to move while you do that, but actually you can. It's a glitch. You have to run by double tapping and then stop running and immediately after press R and start dashing again in the direction you were dashing to. It's within 1 frame, so it requires you to be pretty quick, but it's actually not that hard. And here I'm doing a skip. I'm not supposed to be able to reach this enemy. Normally you're supposed to go to another part of the dungeon, get Freedom, and use Freedom's sword to be able to reach that guy. But if you do what I did, which is run towards the statue and then slash at the appropriate moment, you can actually hit it. So that released a shortcut, which so I skipped freedom basically, and I also skipped another item which I actually don't need as well. See if I'm fast enough. Okay, I made it past. So in that part where you normally get freedom, you're also supposed to get the wind melody. I'm going to explain a bit later what the wind melody is for, but that's also another item that you can skip. And it's actually something that was that the developers knew about. I'll explain it here later. Anyway, so here, in any percent you would go down immediately, but in 100% we need all the red jewels, so I'm going to go here instead and get this red jewel. Oh, those guys are annoying. Okay. Most enemies do at least 3 damage, and I only have 8. So that's another thing I haven't explained. In this game, there is no experience like there is in most RPGs, but still there is a very simplistic upgrade and stat system. You have attack, defense, and HP, that's pretty much it. It's extremely simple. Well, I'll explain it later, because here, this is where you were supposed to use the wind melody. It would highlight which is the correct tile, but it's always the same tile, so if you just know which one it is, you don't need a wind melody, and there we go. Okay, about the stat upgrades, there is no level or such a system. The way you get upgrades in the game is by clearing all the enemies in a given room of dungeons. So if you kill all the enemies of a given room, you are given 1 upgrade, either attack, defense, or health. But as I killed almost nobody, I skip all these upgrades. But fortunately, every time you kill a boss, the game catches you up on all the upgrades that you missed, and that's really convenient. That's basically what makes the game speedrunnable in the first place. Because this game, you probably know that, yeah, if you know this game, it has a lot of permanently missable things. Oh, 2 left. It's possible to one-cycle this boss, but it's really hard and luck-based also. Okay, yeah, so the game is going to catch me up on missed upgrades as soon as I defeat this guy. There. This is why I no longer have 8 HP, but I have 13. You can see that in my player bar. It's a little bit weird to read, but a big blue dot stands for 2 HP, and a little blue dot stands for 1, so I actually have 13. So there, I was just caught up on all the upgrades that I did not collect. So this is why you don't need to collect any upgrade. Or you can if you want, but it's not really necessary to beat the game. And even if you don't kill enemies like we do in the speedrun, you're not going to become too low level. Because, yeah, you will get those catching ups once in a while. It's still gonna make the game much more difficult than casual, of course. Especially when you have to change several dungeons without having a boss to beat, because you're gonna be more and more low level. But you get the idea. Eventually you will get caught up, so... Yeah, there's no point in the game where I will be one-shot by everything and dealing only 1 damage. Okay, I don't remember how to do the Comet trick. I got it. Alright, so this is the crow's nest trick. Normally after speaking to this guy and after the sky goes blue, you cannot move. But if you do a no, it's not frame perfect, but it's pixel perfect manipulation like I did, talking to him at the right frame, at the right pixel, sorry, at the right pixel, and then go down as the second text box is appearing, you still have 1 pixel of movement available, and if you're lined up correctly, you can just drop during the moment where you're supposed to be not moving. So that only saves 2 seconds if done perfectly. And here, this is a really easy to miss red jewel. Because you only have 1 shot. As long as you speak to the queen here, well, the remains of the queen, that red jewel is no longer available. I'm a little bit scared, by the way, about this run because as a lot of items are permanently missable, if I miss one, then the 100% might be over. I hope it doesn't happen. Normally, so far I should have everything, but you never know. Okay, now we're gonna get to a really cutscene-y part. There's not many of them, but yeah, this is probably the longest non-action part of the game, so to speak. Oops. And this is where I ate the leg of yak. Here, all you have to do to advance is to know the arbitrary triggers to advance the story. So here all I had to do was hit a fish with my sword, and that's it. Now I just have to wait. So this is supposed to be a scene between Kara and Will. So you can see that there's a romance starting up between them. If you like the game and like the general ambience of it, you might be a bit moved by it. But in the speedrun, it's just a series of arbitrary triggers to learn. This is much more interesting for casual play, of course. Okay, I have to speak to this. This princess is such a bother. Okay, this one is really interesting. Here I'm supposed to catch a lot of fishes because they bring back my health to full. And bringing your health to full is the trigger to advance. But fortunately you have another way to get past this trigger. You can either catch 12 fishes like you're supposed to, or you can use a herb which heals 8 HP. So thanks to that I only had 4 fishes to catch instead of 12. So this is why I collected a herb in Incan Ruins. I don't know if you noticed, but I opened an unnecessary chest for it. And getting that herb is not a safety, it's really an optimization. It's something that the task also did, or should do, I don't remember. So it's really an optimization, not a safety, because you can get past the trigger there much sooner. Getting the chest costs approximately 6 seconds, but catching 12 fishes, catching 8 more fishes costs more than that. Definitely, I think it's an average of 12 seconds. So yeah, it's definitely an optimization. It also depends on fish RNG, which is a thing. But since you only need to catch 4 fishes instead of 12, it's not that bad. Yeah, RNG is not that bad anymore. Okay. Right, so here Will just got scurvy, but fortunately we were close to a new coast. And yeah, here I'm waking up at a doctor's home. Okay, so here, careful, there's another one shot. Yeah, this one. The red jewel in that jar is one shot. So, yeah, because when you leave Diamond Coast, you cannot go back there. And here I'm going to have to do a bunch of little side quests in order to get some red jewels. There's 3 red jewels to get. I'm going to only get 2 right now. The remaining one will be gotten later. Here I got a which gets me 1 more HP, and herbs, both of which are in trash cans. So yeah, this game, all the most valuable items can be found in trash. So yeah, that's the thing, I guess. And this game is pretty grim actually, because here you can see slaves, and yeah, slavery is a recurring theme in this game. We'll come to that again. Here I'm doing a bunch of other stuff. So here there's an escaped prisoner, and I'm going to really be a jerk because in order to get one of the red jewels, I have to talk to the people in charge from the slaves and rat out on the escaped prisoner that I just found. So I'm really going to be a jerk there, but that's what we need. And here, this is the Croix strat. This is what we normally don't do in 100% speedrun. I'm gonna speak to Gem right now. Oh, okay. I didn't actually give my gems to him. So I have 12 gems. I saw it. So it's good. We have all of them right now, and I'm gonna collect the 13 gems. There, I just ratted out on the escaped prisoner that I found in order to get a jewel, so I'm really a freaking jerk. But yeah, that's just how this game is. If you finish the game fully and 100%, you get a justification for why slavery is a thing in general. Yeah, this game is a lot about human history, and especially the bad things, the sort of grim things, the grim themes. So yeah, it's a pretty dark game. So yeah, if you were a kid, yeah, as a kid I found some things pretty dark. Okay, we'll get back to that because there's more scenes later in the game. But right now we're in a new dungeon, Diamond Mine. It turns out that one of my friends lost his memory, and the answer to that is here. Yeah, I know that the plot is a little bit weird, but yeah, that's how this game is. In terms of speedrunning, this dungeon is sort of dangerous. But as I did the correct strat, which is going to provide me a lot of safety, I already have some upgrades from Gen that normally you catch later in the game, but I already have them. So namely, I have one more experience, one more HP, one more defense point, one more attack point. Ah, come on, yeah, there. And one more herb. So I'm going to fight the vampires with 3 herbs and one more defense point, rather than what you normally do, so it should be fine. If I still fail the vampires, it's really because I'm terrible at games. So here I had to charge dash at this wall. So it's not just a random wall. Normally you're supposed to find this wall because your hair blows, wind blows in your hair when you get close to it. I think one of the other slaves gives you the info for that. I'm not too sure though. Wow, such jerks. Here, yeah, this is the ramp glitch. I already did that in Incan Ruins, but here it is again. Normally you're supposed to go around the slope to be able to catch acceleration from it. But it's possible actually to catch acceleration from it from the bottom of the slope instead of the top. And that's quite insane if you think about it. Oh, damn it. I hate this guy. He trolled again. So yeah, the way you do the ramp glitch is you have to go towards the ramp quite quickly and time a jump attack. It's pretty simple to do. Yeah, it's a bit tight, but it's not too hard. It only works if you do it on the upper tile of the ramp, and it only works on horizontal ramps. It doesn't work on vertical ramps for some reason, just because the tiles are different, I suppose. There I took some hits, but it's okay because really soon we're gonna do the first death warp of the game. But before I die intentionally, I need to do some stuff. Now that we have Darkfire, we're going to become able to... Darkfire is a fireball, basically. We're going to be able to kill an enemy that we couldn't kill before, because he's far in the distance. Ow. Those eyeballs are such jerks. They always turn in stone when you need to get around them. There, another orb cancel glitch, so I can go through this barrier, and there. So I didn't kill the prisoner, I actually destroyed his chains. Well, the chains are still here because I spoke to him really fast afterwards. There, I got the elevator key, and the elevator is much closer to the entrance of this dungeon, so it's better to just kill myself in order to get back there quickly. It only saves, I think, 8 or 9 seconds, but it's still worth it. And I don't really need freedom for the rest of the dungeon, so I can just die now, it's okay. Ah, this guy is such a jerk. Always goes left. I don't know why, but it happens really often for me. RNG is such a weird thing. Okay, So this is the elevator. It's pretty cool that in the background you can see a room that I already visited. The one the one just before the guy who gives me the elevator key. So yeah, it's a sweet thing from developers. They thought about that. But here, this is a pretty difficult spot because the maze is pretty tight. There's not a lot of room to escape from enemies or dodge them. And yeah, those eyeballs, they can either turn stone into stone, or they can switch lanes or not switch lanes. You cannot see that until it's too late. But fortunately, thanks to the upgrades that I received early by talking to Gem in Phrygia, I can take more hits, so I should be fine. Yeah, I'm a little bit slow, but yeah, that's okay. The hits that I've taken will make my upcoming suicide faster, because yeah, to exit the dungeon there's no faster way than just kill yourself. And here you're supposed to look at all the corpses and you can see a glowing item, but if you know what it is you don't even really have to look. You can see it glow if you look closely. Yes, put them, please. Alright. Cool. Yeah, I got the jump attack talk. That doesn't really save time, but it's fancy. So I'm a jerk number 2 because I just released this prisoner and not the other two because they're worthless. This guy just gave me the memory melody, which is the next plot item that I need. And there. Now that we completed this dungeon, we just have to die and go back. Okay, dungeon complete. Yeah, go to Phrygia, please. Okay, and let's not forget that I still have one red jewel to get. But I'm getting it now because it's faster. I have to go to the hotel anyway, and the jewel is there. I have to go here. It's here. There we go. Maybe you noticed that a little bit earlier in the dungeon, as I was performing an orb cancel glitch by going to the menu, I also switched places for the herb in the first spot. Because I've played through the game with the new Croat route recently, and I saw that items are generally in pretty bad spots, especially the ones that you really need to advance the game. And cursor movements costs a little bit, and you want to prevent that. So it's better to move that herb out of the way so that most good items, most useful items are going to fall in the first spot of the inventory, or at worst the second spot. So that's going to minimize cursor movement. Although, keep in mind that Croat strat is actually technically slower, because visiting Gem in Phrygia still wastes about 15 seconds. So it's still a thing. And even if it gives you one extra attack point, which is going to be useful in the next 2 dungeons, some enemies are going to be killed a bit faster, but that does not compensate for the cost of going to Gem. But it's a minimal cost because 15 seconds minus some other advantages, and also it's really safe for marathon, so that's why I'm doing this route. And also it's very, very new. Croat talked to me about it a few days ago, so it's a really new way to go through the game. The effect will last until the vampires. After the vampires, the route is going to be normal again, because the effect will be nullified. Because after the vampires, that's where you normally talk to Gem. Anyway. So yeah, you would get the same upgrades that you got earlier with Croat strat. Okay. So, other plot elements. Now that Lance has recovered his memory, we can go back on our journey. So if you've paid attention, this game is divided into 3 main continents that we have to visit, and that also marks the no return points of the game. So basically, generally after bosses, you will travel to a different continent. So after the first boss, you travel to different continents, and you cannot go back. After the next boss, also I will not be able to come back. But after the vampires, I will also switch continents, so I will not be able to come back, and this kind of things. And here, this is another place with a lot of arbitrary triggers. You only have to speak to Kara after she stops moving, then Lily, and then Kara again. And by the way, this is a real place. This is the Nazca drawings on the desert, which are supposed to represent a condor. And I can activate the secret tile when Neil's going to come into positions. Now, there we go. A rumbling sound. Well. Yes, something happened as soon as my flute touched the tile. So you can guess that the flute is sort of connected with what is going on, and it takes close to the end of the game. This game, in story-wise, does not give you a lot of clues, to be really honest. You're sort of following the flow, not really knowing why the game wants you to go from place to place, but you sort of get a loose explanation at the end. It depends on how sensitive you are to plot twists or such things. That's what your opinion on this game is going to depend on. Anyway, so now we're in Sky Garden, which is probably my favorite dungeon, or second favorite. I still haven't decided. I really like the idea that this dungeon is a floating garden that has a flop side and a flip side. Yeah, killing yourself takes longer with the Cry Crowd. That's a bit of a shame. But at least I should not die prematurely. Okay. Yeah, you have a flip side and flop side, so that makes the whole thing pretty cool. There are cool riddles that are going to be completely destroyed by speedrun glitches, but we'll come. So this is basically a hub with 4 big rooms that we have to visit, and we have to find a crystal orb in each of these rooms. And once we've collected all 4 of them, we'll be able to reveal the passage to the boss. So it's a pretty simple architecture, I would say. So the basic strategy, once you've got an orb, you can just kill yourself to go back to the hub, because that's going back yourself. Yeah, death warps are used a lot in this speedrun. Probably even more than Soul Blazer. Yeah, this game really abuses death a lot. So here I'm releasing a red gem. Oh! For some reason it didn't work. I probably went to the menu too early. You have to go there once the orb has fully appeared, so I was probably a bit early there. And here I'm waiting actually. You have to wait until the animation is complete before you open this chest. Because if you open this chest, if you do the orb cancel, open the chest while the animation of the blocks destroying is still on the screen, you crash the game. Yeah, it's a soft lock, yeah, even a hard lock actually. So it's pretty bad. You don't want that. So that's why I waited. And during the waiting, as I didn't have anything more to do, I just got hit several times by the fireball chain in order to make the suicide faster. Because yeah, you finish every one of these areas with a suicide. Ah, come on. There we go. So this area is supposed to be a big riddle with a lot of going back and forth on the flop side, pulling and pushing blocks. Yeah, when you push a block in the flip side, it makes it disappear from the flop side, this kind of thing. But unfortunately in the speedrun you're not going to see any of that, because thanks to the ramp glitch, as I explained earlier, if the ramp is only 1 tile wide, instead of just getting acceleration from the bottom tile, we can completely cross it. And that's great. You cross it, so you go to the other side, which you're not supposed to be able to do. And thanks to that, we completely destroyed that third area. Like within a few seconds, we already got the orb and did all the things we were supposed to do. And here I'm gonna go up a little bit, so that in the top left corner, maybe if you're really fast, you could see it. I triggered a fireball chain just like that, the one that we just passed, so I don't have to wait as long, because it's already here, because I triggered it early. If we didn't trigger it early, we would have had to wait much longer. It's possible to go through it by taking damage, but that's still slower than just trigger it early and do a very tiny waiting at the end. Okay, oh cool, it wasn't hit. I'm gonna charge a Darkfire, because here you need freedom just for one Darkfire. So you can release it at this statue, so it triggers it, and now I have to defeat the sword. And that's mandatory to be able to move the statue along. Okay, I moved it once from this side, so I have to move it again to put the statue on this switch. Yeah, you have to use freedom, there's no other way to make the statue move. Okay, here, this is a strat which is not so new now. It's called the statue skip. Normally you're supposed to defeat the sword in order to be able to move the statue and access the chest. But you don't need that, because there's actually a one-tile path which you can go around, and you could go around the statue and get the chest, but it's not so easy. You can do it manually, because if you go 1 pixel too many to the south, you will fall down the little cliff, and going back takes about a minute, so you cannot do it manually. I did it by being damage pushed by the sword in a way that it's just an enemy manipulation basically. You just move in a certain way, and the enemy always does what you want it to do, to push you around in the desired way. So this boss is a little bit hard for a speedrun, because I can only take one hit. Yeah, this was a really solid boss. And that was not bad. I was not hit, and I beat him in only 7 of his moves, which is pretty good. Okay, so we beat this dungeon. Alright. Here you can actually charge, which does not do anything. For some reason they use the same palette for Will in these cutscenes. Oh, and by the way, yeah, this cutscene is hilarious. This is the best plane in the world. You can still charge again, that doesn't do anything, but it's a thing. Don't worry, Anchor Wat is not going to take it that long. I swear. Okay, another cutscene. Here you really have to wait, there's nothing else you can do. So the next stop, here you see that we're crashing into the ocean, and we're going to get into a hidden palace there, the seaside palace. So we cannot go back. This is another one of those, hey, flashing parachutes. It's another one of those no return points. There's a lot in this game. So I hope I haven't forgotten anything. There's a lot of popping up text boxes all around. This is supposed to be a very weird place when the player is not supposed to not really know what's going on. Like, his companions are there, but they're ghosts, so what was going on, this kind of thing. I really like the music here. It's called Ominous Whispers. It's used a lot in the game, and I think it's really great to set the atmosphere. Such a mysterious, creepy atmosphere. But fortunately, Lily, for some reason, is not a ghost. And she gets into turns into a flower and gets in my pocket. She's gonna be really handy. And there are enemies here. You can defeat them, but they don't give you anything. There's no upgrade to be got here, because this is not a real dungeon. So yeah, don't attack these enemies. You would lose your time. Okay. So now we have the Purification stone. There's still another red jewel to the left, but I'm gonna collect it after I have purified the area. Because that will make the monsters disappear and all the NPCs go back to life. So with the monsters out of the way, it's gonna be much easier to collect the jewel. If you do it before, the monsters are really gonna troll you because of going these doors. When you go in and out of those doors, you cannot move for an amount of time, and you risk having one of those enemies attack you during that time. NPCs can be jerks though, they can block your path. Let's hope it doesn't happen. So here we basically have to go back. This place is a bit of a maze. It confused me when I was a kid. So now that the NPCs are back, we can talk to one of them who stole the Seaside Palace key. So now with this key we can get to Moo, and Moo is the next dungeon. It's arguably the hardest or the second hardest dungeon. Yeah, I would say second hardest. Hardest being the pyramid. Yeah, I have no idea where items are because of new strats. Okay, we got the key. Ah, oh, what a jerk. He stopped my momentum. Alright, Moo. Yes, Moo is pretty difficult especially because of one type of enemy which are whiz roads. Basically masked magicians. Can appear at any place, and there's nothing preventing them from appearing directly on top of you and damaging you without being able to do anything about it. So there I could have used an orb cancel, but it's useless because by the time you get next to the blocks destroyed, the animal is complete, so no need to skip it, lose time. So yeah, so these guys who appear and disappear, these guys are real trolls. Yeah, I'm still releasing the first red jewel because I want to clear the first spot of the inventory. Because I'm gonna have to get some important plot items. Well, not plot items, but dungeon key items. And I really want them to be on the first spot so I don't have to look for them. When I go back to doing serious attempts of this, I will not do the Krog strat, so I actually know where everything is going to be. But with the Krog strat, I'm not too used to the positions of items in the inventory, so I'm moving things around and sort of playing by ear in that area. Yeah, it's the first one. So here, it's not magic. I found an item, like, it seems to be out of nowhere, just on the ground by chance, but what the game wants you to be aware of, and it shows you with the chest just before, that item was located at the point where the looks of two head statues intersect. So basically, to the left and to the north, there were statues, and you have to look for the location, for the exact spot where their sights cross. So this is basically how I found that item, but it's always in the same place. So yeah, if you just know where it is, you don't have to really look. Okay, now that the item that I recovered is the Statue of Hope, and I just put this guy. Ah, I wasn't quick enough. Okay. Dancho strats. Yeah, this is a bit faster if you do it well. I'm not sure I was actually faster there. But that was the troll's fault. That was the Wizard's fault. It's never myself. Never. Okay. So here I also did something I was not supposed to be able to do. I got some momentum from the bouncing bubble, and I got to the top of the cliff, or of the ramp there. That's the word. Where I was supposed to be blocked by that golem. Normally you're not supposed to be able to stash a sword, but if you cancel your movement, well, if you stop pressing the D-pad as you're moving up, if you do it at the right time, you will stop your movement at the top of the ramp, and you will not go back down immediately. So that gives you the possibility to strike your flute at the golem, and when the golem wakes up, you can go through him before he actually becomes before he actually starts being able to damage you. That's the thing. The intended way of doing that is to go to a different place of this dungeon and get Freedom, but again there we just completely skip Freedom. He's not actually necessary for this dungeon. That's cool. And here I just got the second ability for Will. Will and Freedom both have 3 abilities, but some of them are going to be skipped. So this is Will's second ability, the slider, and this one is really great. Because when you're sliding, you deal a lot of damage and you're invincible during the whole process, and that's quite OP. You have to go back, and now I'm going to use the slider to go through a narrow passage that I couldn't get to before, here. And we're on our way to get the second Statue of Hope. So I didn't say it, I don't know if you saw that, but this guy. Okay, I blocked it somehow. Okay, you don't have to bring the bouncing bubble all the way to the ramp. You can just get acceleration immediately, as long as you are lined up enough. You don't lose your acceleration with the distance, so that's really good. And here it is. This is the second Statue of Hope. Again, it's located at the crossing point of the lines of sight of 2 statues, but the statues are off screen, so you don't see there. Normally you're supposed to look around a bit to see exactly where the statues' sights intersect. And so again, we got the second Statue of Hope, so we have to put it in the second Room of Hope. And fortunately enough, the second Room of Hope is just near the beginning. So let me explain what this does. So when you put one of those statues there, it lowers the level of the sea in the dungeon. Before, all the 2 lower levels were completely immersed. They were surrounded by water, so you couldn't get there. But every time I lowered the sea level by 1 story, so I could access the lower level, basically of the level of the dungeon. So there was only 2 of them, and this is the only red jewel of this dungeon. There's no other, unfortunately. Oh, what a jerk! I got hit. I don't like that. If I get hit too much before the vampires, I will heal at Gaia, and also maybe save, because we just might want to. So now what we have to do in the lowest floor of this dungeon is to get 2 Rama statues. There I did a glitch. You see those chests which contain really important items, which do this big fanfare, etc. If you open up these chests with a slider or a jump attack, you will see your invincibility still after opening the chest for the rest of the room. So I was actually invincible for the rest of the room, but as soon as you switch rooms, you go to another room, the invincibility is lost. So I can show it off again here. There. I attacked the chest with a slider, With a slider, you're supposed to be invincible, but the game does not put you back in the status where you are vulnerable. So here, hey, I could go through enemies and hey, I'm invincible. But now it's over. So it's not that useful, but it's still useful to get around these enemies. Okay, that guy trolled me, so I'm gonna heal. I'm gonna record as well, but that shouldn't happen. But in case I fail the vampire fight and lose all my herbs, I might want to start again from a reset, because when you use herbs in this game, the herbs are lost forever. So that's why it might be wise to save. I actually didn't want to, but I was hit several times, so dude, I don't want to equip this. I want to equip a herb instead. So here we're going to talk to Rama, the god of this place. Basically they explain to us what happened there, because this place is actually a cemetery. All those guys are long dead, but he knows that I'm a special person. There's some sort of prophecy, everything that's needed in JRPGs, and he gives me the third mystic statue. So these are basically the plot items to show how much you've progressed through the game, and this is basically the hardest boss in the game, and the biggest pain of IOG speedrunners. I don't like how this is starting. Where was the girl? So yeah, this boss is a lot about RNG, but also good timing with your jump attacks, because you really want to dodge fields of them. When you attack them, they raise their force field. Oh my god! I'm gonna use one. Dude, this is a pretty unlucky fight so far. Well, I killed the guy before. That's actually really rare. Generally, I killed the girl before. Okay. That was still a 90. I'll take that. I'll take that. Yeah, exactly 1 hour beating them. This is not a great time so far, but I'm fine. I haven't died. I only used one herb and I got a 90, which is a really decent fight. It's not super, but it's good. I think it's good for the RNG I got. The end of the fight was much better because the two vampires doubled up, and that's really what you want, to be able to defeat them quickly. But I was quite trolled in the beginning because I couldn't keep track of the girl, and the guy was a bit trolly. My strat is basically, when you start off the fight, you can use a slider in order to get closer to them right off the bat. And I do that to do some free hits to the guy, because the guy is the hardest one to chase down, because he can move from any spot to any spot just the way he wants. He can move diagonally. He doesn't have any restrictions in that regard. And whereas the woman vampire, she can only move from one adjacent node to the next. So she's easier to keep track of. So that's why I deal my first damage to him, and then I try to chase her down, kill her, and then try to finish off the guy as well as I can. And that's also pretty luck dependent. This is a really difficult fight because, well, the vampires don't have a hitbox themselves, so you can pass through them without being hit, but everything that they throw at you, and including the force fields, the fireballs which revolve around them, that does a lot of damage to you. So you have to learn the proper timings to do your jump attacks, and that also is pretty dependent of what is going on. Especially the woman vampire can raise her force field at a different time, so you have to sort of read that as you're trying to run the fight. Okay, so we've switched continents again, because after beating the vampire, we went through a very, very long tunnel under the sea. So now we're in a different land. So this is a very weird place. It has a lot of people who are really tall and seems to have no emotions. So there I gave all my remaining jewels to Gem. And Gem is everywhere in the game actually, and he also takes a lot of shapes. So you don't really... He doesn't have one specific sprite. You have to talk to everybody and eventually you will find him. So I got new upgrades, well, at least just one new upgrade. So this is where in the normal route you're supposed to get all the upgrades, but I already got some of them. So I got only one new one. And that new upgrade is the upgraded Will's power. So the charge dash. Now charge dash does much more damage than it used to, and this is going to be used here. A charge, get hit by this guy, to keep the charge and kill those two dragons at once. Because here there's a red jewel. Okay, the wind tunnel. So here, if you want to be safe, you can kill those two guys, because there's the only enemies in this room. So if I kill the other one, I would get an HP upgrade, but I don't really need it. I got hit though, but that should be fine. Hey, cool. I got an HP jewel, so I'm taking it. So maybe if I do the next dungeon really well, I won't need to heal at Gaia, so that is going to save a bit of time. Okay, let's not forget this red gem. Ooh, get out of here. And the storyline in here, I'm actually looking for Kara again, and she was captured by this weird painter who turned her into a painting or something, or locked her into a magic painting. And I have to answer these riddles, where the guy it's basically a memory game. I have to show off what's different in between the rooms. So the last room is a bit special because there's nothing different in the room. The only thing that I have to select is myself, because the actual difference is that in the second room the hair is blowing in my hair. Well, the wind is blowing in my hair, and not in the first room. As a kid, it took me a long time to figure that out, so that's why I remember it. Okay, magic dust. So this is the next random plot item that I have to get in order to free Kara from her frame. Okay. Alright, now the team is complete again. Woo! We're happy. So next stop is Watermere. So here you see that I think we've reached the last non-return point of no return in the game, because this is the final continent, but it's the biggest one. So you can consider that we have beaten half the game now. The vampires is basically the halfway point. Well, maybe beating the dungeon we just beat, that would be the halfway point for Hundo, because Hundo is a bit longer. It's gonna have one more dungeon at the end. So there's that. We are 1 hour 6 minutes. Yeah. So yeah, you can say that this is more or less halfway. Okay, not too much great stuff is gonna happen. So we're gonna get cutscene again before the next dungeon. But it's not an accident if we're again going here, because this is the place where Lance's father lives. So both Lance and Will want to know where their fathers were. And Lance has found his, but unfortunately he's really sick. But anyway, now Lance wants to stop the journey here. The story is centered a lot on characters. To to begin with, there's not much explaining what's going on in the big picture. That all comes to the end, and then you can speculate. The story advancement is more centered on the characters. So here we're gonna have a romantic scene between two fellas. Lance tells Lily that he loves her. Lily, I love you. You don't have to answer right away, but I wanted to tell you how I feel. Lily, wait! Yeah, she got scared. So here, this is a place in the game where the game doesn't really tell you what you're supposed to do. Because Lance left, probably looking for Lily, but nobody knows where he went. The game doesn't tell you that he actually put a letter in your inventory, or in your pocket or something. And it's only when you go to the inventory that you see it, but nothing in the game tells you that you have to do that. So you really have to read Lance's letter in order to know that you're supposed to go to the Great Wall. So this is where Lance went, to looking for Lily. So this is where we are. This is a really cool dungeon with great music also. This is probably one of my favorite dungeons. The paths look really narrow and linear, but the dungeon itself is not linear at all, and the speedrun route makes it even more enjoyable. This is a dungeon where there's supposed to be a lot of backtracking. I will come to that. But yeah, first, yeah, I'm frame dashing through these guys, because my strength is really low, and they have a lot of HP, so killing them, or... This is even better than using... what's the name? Sliders. Sliders would do a lot of damage to them, but it would push them in front of me, so that would not really help in dealing with them, unless you do it from really close to them, which is a bit difficult to do, and still slower than the iframe dashes that I did. So in this dungeon, again, there's only one red jewel. This game is a bit weird because there seems to be more red jewels in towns than dungeons. Okay. So I could iframe dash this dude, this snake, but it's much harder to do than the archers because their hitbox is way less wide. Here in Hundo I don't deal with this room the same way as any person. In any person I do 2 sliders, but in Hundo I just need to do 1 slider and 1 slash because that's sufficient to kill the first snake, and the second snake is not in my way, so I don't even need to attack while going out of the door. Okay, so here coming up is ta-da! The game wants me to follow all these bumps and go all the way to the end, and then gets an ability which enables me to go back and climb these bumps. So that's going to be the what's the name? Spin dash. And then go back, get Freedan, go back to the right again, to use Freedan because he's going to be used. I need Darkfire at some point, and then lose Freedan to get Will again with yet another Gaia layer. But thanks to the sequence break that I just did, by just using a slider to stop my momentum, I get Freedan right now. And now we're going to go to the right where Freedan has to be used. You're going to see what this is. Here, he's used only to kill this enemy. I need 3 fireballs. In any person you need 4. Okay. So now the enemy is killed, so we can do what I was supposed to do at the beginning, get Will's new power. And the cool thing is that as it's supposed to be Will's power, then the game will turn me back into Will. So I don't need to turn back into Will. So basically, instead of going to the end, get this power, go back, get Freedan, go forward again, use Freedan, and get back Will later, I just cancel my momentum, got Freedan, go forward, use Freedan, go here, get the power and Will at the same time, and now I can do the rest of the dungeon. This saves basically 2 minutes. So it saves one big session of back and forth, and also clearing another room to get another layer where I was supposed to turn back into Will. So yeah, I don't know if I was clear, but yeah, it's easier to understand what the benefit of this is if you know the game, if you know the dungeon. Here I'm going to do one last iframe through these guys. And here I'm going to cheat in this riddle. You're supposed to use the telekinetic power to move these statues around and find a way to go around. But if you attack and turn around by being close enough to them, that will strike the statue and push them behind you, so they're not in front of you anymore and you can just pass. It's really easy. Well, the manipulation is a little bit tight, but it makes this riddle this little puzzle much simpler. Okay, welcome to Sandfanger, that we call Trollfanger. Trollfanger because he likes to waste our time. This guy has 3 possible moves. He can jump up and down, like he just did. He can jump sideways, like here. Oh, not even hit once. And both of these are pretty terrible. In both of these you can only hit him twice at best. Oh, it's really difficult to know exactly where he's coming from. Or he can do this, and this is what you want. This is the egg drop ability. And you can hit him 8 times if he does that. The probability of getting this, though, is only 25%. In really lucky runs, you might get it 5 times. If you're really unlucky, you might get it 2 or maybe even just 1 time, which is terrible. So far, this is not a very fast fight. I only got 1 egg drop. And some sideways jumps that where I didn't even manage to hit him. Oh, only 1 hit. Okay. Oh man. Alright, this is not a lucky fight. Please. Oh, this guy's a jerk. Okay, this... No, not even? Come on. Okay, please, one more. Not one more of this. Please, one more egg drop. Man. Wow. Oh man, this is a very unlucky fight. Okay, this is... Generally, when he appears away, it's gonna be the egg drops. Okay, we got 2 egg drops, which is pretty unlucky. I'm not gonna lie, this was an unlucky fight, but... RNG, there's really nothing I could do. Yeah, this is the hardest boss for a speedrunner. It is the stupidest boss for a speedrunner. This one is the one which wastes the most time. Its origin was really bad. It was not atrocious, but it was pretty bad. It was really on the bad side. In average, you would get 3, or maybe 3, but the third one being pretty much at the end of the fight, and you couldn't really exploit it fully. So you get it like 2.5. But if you're really lucky, you can get it 5 times. If you're lucky, you can get it twice in a row, which happens once in a while. If you're incredibly lucky, you can get it 3 times in a row, and I think that's happened to me only once in my entire life. So that can happen, but it's super, super, super rare. Getting 5 in a row, it's not about getting 5 in a row, it's getting 5 at all in the whole process of the fight. Generally when you get 2 in a row, it's difficult to be able to hit 8 times for each of the 2. Because you need to be next to him when he appears, and when he does 2 egg drops in a row, he will be at 2 different spots, so you might not be there to do the hits immediately. And also when he releases eggs, well, the eggs might wander around. They still exist and they can mess you up a bit. So they can also prevent you from dealing a lot of damage. Okay, there I got one of the red jewels. And it's really convenient to do it now because you have to wait for this lily pad anyway, so getting the red jewel now does not waste any time. Now we're gonna go kill a man, because I'm such a jerk. Basically we need to be able to move further, but we can't do so because we need animals, we need special kangaroo animals to be able to cross the desert. And to get them, I'm going to play this Russian roulette style game, but with glasses. Only one glass has poison in it, and so I'm playing with a man. And yeah, I just won. But this man is a man of honor, so he really wants, he insists in sipping the last poisoned water. So we just kill him, but that's okay because we got his animals. So for the story, this is another really grim aspect of this game. There I just spoke to his wife, and his wife gives you a letter from your opponent. And if you read the letter, you will see that this guy was actually trying to make, he knew that he was sick for some disease, and he was close to dying anyway. So he was trying to make some money for his wife and his son that he was never going to see. So this is really sad. And I just robbed that from him because I'm such a jerk. But we get to go to Euro. So Euro is depicted as a big city, very rich city. And Neil's parents actually work there. They have a big company, delivery company, something like that, called Roulette. I like that how they tell you that there's a big party with fireworks and stuff, but they don't show that to you because it was probably much easier to just tell you. Anyway. There's actually still 2 red gems that we didn't get in Watermere, but we need to go back to Watermere anyway later. So it's okay to leave them for now. So now I'm going to do a little boring fetch quest, but we need it for Hundo. We went to the market and got an apple, and I'm going to speak to the maid, and she likes apples. Okay. You have to talk to her twice in order to give her the apple. So yeah, I remember to do that. You can only get the apples one at a time. You can also use the apples, that just heals you by 1 HP. If you really need that. Okay, I'm gonna give her the second apple, and then I'm gonna collect the third apple, but not give it to the girl immediately. Okay, just gave her. Because after I complete the next dungeon, I will have to go back to this place anyway. So I don't need to... So I will be back there anyway, so I don't need to give the girl the last apple now. It's better to do it all together with my next actual quest element. So now this is when we're gonna go back to Watermere. Yeah, Watermere is down. So story advancement. Now Lance and Lily, they told each other that they were in love with each other, so oh, that's so cute, and decided to live together in Watermere. And after going to Euro, you have to go back to Watermere, so Lance gives you a red jewel, because he just happens to have found one in his package or something. But yeah, you have to go back. There. Oh, come on, get down. Okay, so that's the second red jewel from Watermere, but there's a third one. It's here in this casino, sort of casino where people make bets here. And this guy is Gem the Jeweler. I just gave him all my red gems, and thanks to that it gave me the new upgrade for having 30 gems, which is the upgraded Darkfire. So that's that's Freedom's ability. You know that, the Fireball ability. The upgrade is pretty cool. When you throw the Fireball and then attack again, when the Fireball is still on the screen, the Fireball will divide into 4 Fireballs, which are going to move in circling patterns, and they do a ton of damage. it kind of sucks, but you have to go back to your row to be able to go back to Mount Temple. And theoretically, I could have gone back to Watermere after doing this dungeon. It doesn't matter too much. In terms of movements, it's basically exactly the same. But I prefer to do it now because I spoke to gem early, so that cleans my inventory from all the red gems that I was carrying. And thanks to that, all the items that I'm going to collect in this dungeon will be in the first spot of the inventory. And that's going to be really convenient. So this is why I do the Watermere fetch quests before. Dude, I'm missing all my dashes. Alright, so this dungeon, if you know the game, this dungeon probably pissed you off, because it's a big maze. It's easy to get lost here. This dungeon is much easier to do with the manual. The game was sold with a pretty good manual. It was the good old days of great manuals like Secret of Evermore, Secret of Mana. I got all of them as a kid. So if you play this game without a manual or a guide of some sort, it's much easier to go around. Alright, so there I did another invincibility glitch, so I could go through those white skulls without taking damage, being pushed back. Although for speedrunners, this dungeon is actually probably the easiest in the whole game, because I just caught up with all the upgrades I was supposed to have by beating the previous boss. So now I'm not low level anymore. I'm basically starting this dungeon with all the upgrades and all the stats that was supposed to have. Oh, I forgot to charge. I was supposed to charge dash here. Okay. I'm talking a lot and not really thinking about the game. So this is probably the longest, or one of the longest red gems to get in the entire game, because I have to go through this whole room just for it. It's basically a minute, but yeah, it's required. So now we can go back. Woo! And earlier we got mushroom drops, and the mushroom drops are going to be used on those vines to make them grow. So this is how the dungeon works. You have to get 3 mushroom drops in total. So you can advance at 3 different spots. Nothing too complicated, but yeah, the maze aspect of this dungeon makes it a bit harder to memorize. But yeah, I was already hit by several enemies and I didn't take a lot of damage. This is there you can see that it's actually pretty easy when you know what you're doing. So there I did 2 spin dashes because that makes me basically really fast and I can go through enemies. And I did another invincibility glitch with this chest so I can go back safely without having to charge a dash. And I was pretty lucky there because the fairies with flutes, they didn't appear all at once on the screen, so they didn't lag the game a lot. So that's another thing that I didn't say. Lag is usually not an issue in this game, except in this dungeon and the secret dungeon in the end. And here I'm killing enemies, which technically is not necessary. I missed one of them. It's not going to be a big deal. I killed them because I will have to collect the 3rd mushroom drops in this room and go back to the entrance. And when I'm back at the entrance, all the spiders are going to be there waiting for me, and they create a ton of lag. So that's why I wanted to kill 2 of them. I only killed 1, but that should be fine. Okay, this is the 3rd mushroom drops. You cannot do the invincibility glitch on this one, because if you did, after you have to do the jump that I just did, and that cancels the glitch, so it would be completely useless. And yet I need to take damage because there's an upcoming suicide. Oh, there's not too much lag, so that's cool. Oh, I forgot to equip it. Okay, it's okay if I take damage because I have a lot of HP to waste. And this is actually the last place where there's any danger. Here you could use a spin dash to go up quicker, but it's slower actually, because by the time that it takes to charge it, you're already almost halfway. And also, you have to wait until the spinning is finished until you can open the chest. So it's actually slower than just running there normally. Okay, I want to get killed by this guy because he's the one who does the most damage. When's Bonkers, Hulk? Bonkers is gonna be next Thursday, I think. Along with 2 others of my games. Okay, Mount Temple is done now. We've done everything that we had to do in Waterme as well, but we still have a couple red gems to get in Euro. So remember, I still have that 3rd apple that I'm gonna have to give to the girl. And there's another one. But before, we're gonna go in this secret house, talk to this secret guy, talk to him, okay. And he just gave me a strength upgrade. That's gonna be useful actually, because there are some enemies that I'm gonna be able to kill easier. And getting that upgrade takes like a second, so it's really worth it. It's gonna be used a tiny bit for Anchor Watts and a little bit more useful in the pyramid. Okay, so we got a red jewel. So there was a lot of slaves, but I don't care because I'm a jerk. I could speak to them. I don't even think I can free them because who cares about that? Okay, Will gets the red jewel. I just saw the text. So now I can equip the teapot. So this is Neil and his parents. And by using the teapot, that reveals the true nature of his 2 parents. So now basically, we just realized that his parents were dead a long time ago. They were basically ghosts or something. And this is probably a translation error. I'm ashamed to hear you talk that way. Like his friend, come on, your friend just realized that his parents were dead, and you're ashamed. Like you're angry at him for some reason. That just doesn't work. I know Will is a jerk, but that is just silly. So I don't understand Japanese, so I don't know what the original text was, but this is likely to be a translation issue. Okay. Alright, so now we're gonna get into an even darker place, darker in terms of grim events. This game is meant to show a lot of human aspects, the human civilizations, but also it doesn't spare us the grim things about humanity. So we saw slavery, but we're gonna see something else here. I won't spoil it from you. It's ham time. I can see that some people know Illusion of Gaia. So this place seems very barren. It has a lot of corpses, well, a lot of skeletons. So this is not very welcoming. So these people are really hungry. And they're so hungry that Hamlet, the pig, decides to give himself to them as food. So yeah, Hamlet, Bible thump, Bible thump, Bible thump. But hey, wait! That's my mother! So that's right. Now we know that Will's father lives in his flute and Will's mother used to live in that pig. So talk about family issues. But especially maybe you start to understand how things are connected in this game. There's something I didn't say about overworld here. Before the prompting window appears, when you want to select where you want to go, you can already push the cursor to where you want to go before the window even appears. So that saves a tiny bit of time. And also you can press start to cancel the animation where the game zooms in and zooms out of the place where you're going. You can completely skip that animation by pressing start. You can even just keep it pressed to make sure that you do it at the first possible frame. It's really easy and saves a lot of time. Okay. So here, for some reason, you don't even need to orb cancel this one. You have to kill the statue, which releases the orb, but you don't even need to orb cancel it. You can already go through the narrow passage. As far as I know, it's the only place that works like that in the whole game. Oh, come on. Can't navigate in the dark. I don't know this game enough. But here you have to. Okay, this dungeon has 4 red jewels. So it's a pretty big dungeon. It's one of my favorites. I would say this one and Sky Garden are my favorites. This one might be my favorite one to speedrun. It has a lot of tricks. It's really reliant on a lot of direction changes. Yeah, if you're really good with your left thumb, you can do that pretty quickly, all with double taps. Okay. So let's see how unlucky I am with these guys. Okay, those flies, they're impossible to dodge. They just move so fast. Okay, I was hit only once. That's nice. That's nice. So I don't need to heal here, but I need freedom. I need him for a skip. So this is a really well-known skip in the world of Little Gaia, if you know the speedrun. Yeah, this was already known by Quexel at the time, so this is really not new. Yeah, there you just saw the upgraded Darkfire, and it does a ton of damage. It's really cool. And that's going to be useful to do a skip. So normally I'm supposed to go to the right here to collect his third ability, which is Earthquaker, but we don't need that, because that sucks. All we need to do is kill that robot, which was out of the screen, because he blocks us. If we try to go there normally, he would block us and be completely indestructible. So what we do instead is, before triggering him, we can kill him with the upgraded Darkfire. And thanks to that, we don't need to get the Earthquaker ability, which normally... the way it works is that you jump off a cliff and then strike your sword on the floor, and that stuns all enemies. And that would have stunned that robot before he started moving. So that was the intended way. But we don't need to do that because we're good. And there I went to a checkpoint and then went back in order to get the second red jewel of this dungeon, and I died. The reason why I did that in that order is to get back Will. So now I get Will to the checkpoints. And it's really convenient because getting Will otherwise would be really slow. I would need to visit an extra Gaia room, and that would be really bad. And here the game wants you to collect a special item called the glass, this magic glasses or something. But you don't really need that, do you? If you know where you're going. Okay. Oh, come on. I'm gonna go here, use spin dash to go through everybody and get the third red gem. If you use a different direction and keep the B button pressed when cancelling the text from the chest, you can keep the charge. So I didn't need to wait for the charge to complete again. Here I'm going to charge again. So this is a bit different than the any person route in this dungeon, because in any person you cannot kill this guy with the charge, because you don't have the upgraded charge, so it doesn't do enough damage. In any person, instead you plan a suicide, because you want to get out of this place by killing yourself. So you just go through some enemies in order to deplete your HP in a certain way. So in any person you would talk to this final spirit with only 1 HP and then die immediately. But in Hundo you don't want to do that. In Hundo we need to conserve health because we don't want to die. There's the final red jewel that I still need to get, and that's going to be on the way back. It's much more convenient to get it on the way back, so I don't want to die. So there the spirit just gave me a glimpse at a future world, technological and not very welcoming world that is supposed to be our future. Yeah, so there's a bit of philosophy in this game. But if you know the game, you probably maybe noticed that that cutscene was messed up. Normally, when you see that scene, it's supposed to be from a different perspective. It's supposed to be from a much higher point of view. But it was a very close point of view because that's a consequence, a really weird consequence from the fact that I skipped the zooming in and zooming out animation in the overworld when I went to Angkor Wat. So that's the consequence of that. It's really funny. I don't know why, but it's a thing. So on the way back, I got the 4th red jewel. So we have all the red jewels for me. Unfortunately, this place has 3 checkpoints. So even if I kill myself, I would only go back to the previous visited checkpoints. So that would not make me go fast. You really have to go back normally. There's no other way. Death is not really going to be useful here, contrary to most dungeons. Okay, that took a little while. Yeah, usually going back here it can be really trolly because of flies and everything. Okay, that could have been worse. And now I'm gonna kill this guy to create a shortcut to go directly back to the beginning. And as I'm orb cancelling the animation of disappearing, I can select the Gorgon flower that I just got. This is the next plot item. Cool, they moved out of the way, that's nice. This isn't not really 100%. Well, there are things in this game that I'm not doing on purpose, indeed. We're not collecting all the HP upgrades. There's one that we left aside, because getting it is completely pointless and would waste 2 minutes and a half for nothing. In this room there's actually 2 red jewels. Okay, I got it. The first one was in the jar next to the entrance, and the second one was given to me by the second girl. Now I can go to Dao. And our friend Neil is gonna be waiting for us there. Okay, before talking to Neil, I'm gonna talk to him, to Gem. So he just told me that I have 41 red jewels. That's a confirmation that I have all of them. So I'm glad. That's cool. We haven't missed any, at least so far. So next stop is the pyramid. This is arguably the hardest dungeon. At least it's definitely the biggest one. Here there are 5 red jewels to get. And the way this dungeon is organized is basically the same as what's the name? Sky Garden. It's basically a hub. This time there are 6 doors, and I have to retrieve a special item in each of the 6 doors. I'm gonna save because why not? And oh, there's a new statue. So this is Shadow. And Shadow, it's a bit weird. The Shadow is a light creature. It's a light knight. And there I actually had to talk to Gaia. This is the only mandatory talk to Gaia, because she gives me the aura, and when I am Shadow and I use the aura, that gives me this ability to melt, and I can pass through certain floors. So here I do it to get this hidden red jewel. So this was the first one. We have to retrieve a hieroglyph stone in 6 different places. There's 6 rooms to visit. 2 of them are going to be visited twice, by the way, to get red jewels. Especially this one. So the way this works, there's 6 rooms, 3 of which are going to be done with Shadow, and the other 3 with Will, because that's the fastest way of doing each of them. And I'm sorry if you like Freedom, we're never going to see him again in the whole game. That was the Angkor Wat was the last Freedom appearance. So we're going to do things in this order. So first we did room number 5 and got the jewel there, but we still haven't gotten the hieroglyph stone. So we still have to go back to room number 5 later. And then teleport out and go to a different room. So this is room number 3. It's the hardest. So I'm going to focus a little bit here. Okay, there I waited a little bit in order to make sure that I despawn the laser from those laser orbs. And then I can be on my way. Okay. There I used a glitch, which is called the aura glitch. When you use the aura and press Y to do the animation, what you have to do is attack before you do that. Attack, and then press Y during the attack animation, so that you will actually do the aura, and the whole duration of the aura animation is going to be constantly attacking at the fastest possible pace. It's extremely convenient. Oh my god. I advanced too much. Okay, that's fine. I frame dashed through them in order to reach the switch quickly. Okay, I got hit once, but that's not too bad. We still have several herbs, so I'm not too worried. So the aura glitch is really useful when you have to melt to a lower floor, and there are enemies there, and those enemies move randomly and they can catch you, and you can't do anything about it. So using the aura glitch is a good way to... It doesn't make sure you don't get hit, but it makes sure that if there's an enemy on you when you land, you will not get hit by him. It's going to be the other way around. You will hit him and you will most likely push him away. And if you're not too unlucky, you can pass safely without being hit. Okay, next thing is one of the most hardest single things in the game. It's what we call the killer six-pack. Okay, let me focus. Come on. Wow, that was really bad. But I survived. I'm gonna use 2 herbs. Okay. That was pretty bad. My position was wrong. It was mostly my fault. So the basic idea of this... I waited on the top row in order to despawn the laser of the top right laser orb. So just after the laser is despawned, I can start running to the left and then switch lanes at some point. You want to switch lanes as late as possible to make sure that you don't give to any of the bottom ones any opportunity to shoot you down before you get into position. And that position is a position where you can hit 5 of them at the same time. So by hitting them constantly, you also stun them, and that prevents them from hitting you. But my position was off, so I still took some hits. Fortunately, I had enough health to cover from it, but it was pretty bad. It was mostly my fault. You sometimes just get trolled and unlucky, but there was mostly a bit sloppy play. Okay, but we went through it, so I'm fine. Cool. So now we're doing room number 5 again, because we actually have to do something there. I was 1 pixel off. If you're perfectly horizontally aligned with that door, it's possible to go through the door in the form of a drop. So you don't have to go there with your human form. It saves about 1.5 seconds probably. It's very rare to get it. You need to be perfectly horizontally aligned. But it's not worth setting up. You just maybe hopefully get it if you're lucky. Okay, so that's number 5. So now we got 2 red jewels. We got rooms number 3 and 5 completed. So now we just have to go back again and complete room number 2. So that's gonna be the last one for Shadow. So so you understood that the doors which are fastest with Shadow are 2, 3, and 5. Technically you could do them in any order, but we start with 5 because it's the rightmost one, and we have to start to the right because of the red jewel that we collect at the beginning. And it's fastest to do it at the beginning anyway. And you stop with you end with 2 because after collecting the hieroglyph block in this part, I will have to drop down to a lower floor in order to get a red jewel. And when I'm there's no teleporter that I can use. So there's only death. So this is why I have to finish with this one. You will understand. So here I'm on my way to the hieroglyph stone. There we are. It's a bit late. It's a bit slow. Here is the teleporter and the hieroglyph stone. And then I'm going to have to drop down instead of using the teleporter, because there's a chest with the third red jewel, and we need them. We need the red jewels. So here I got that. I'm going to empty some red jewels and die. So this is all for Shadow. Now we have to do the rest of the doors with Will. And dying is really good because it puts me back in the hub as well, and that's what I want. So I'm really close to the next door. So I have to go back to room number 3. Whee! Just to collect the red jewel. And then die. So we have 4 red jewels. There's still the last one is going to be in room number 4. So now we're going to do the rest of the rooms, basically. So we have 6, 4, and 1 that we're going to do in that order. You can do 4, 6, 1 or 6, 4, 1, doesn't really matter. But you want to stop with 1 because it's the slowest down. It's the slowest one to death warp out of, basically. That's the idea. So now that I'm using Will, I want to death warp all the time to get out of the room and be able to go to the next. We couldn't do that with Shadow, because if you die at any form, you go back with Will. I would have to turn back into Shadow by going to a dark space, and that would be slower than just using the teleporter. Even if the teleporter brings me to the top of the hub and I have to melt down back down to the place with the 6 doors, but that's still faster than dying and turning back into Shadow. Because yeah, going to Gaia space is generally pretty slow, so you want to avoid that as much as possible. Yes, there are 5 red jewels. We got 4 of them, and the last one is here. So this is room number 4. It's my favorite. I like it. Here I used to do a spin dash through them, but it's actually faster to just do a slider and take damage if necessary. That shouldn't be an issue. I like these rooms because there's a lot of enemies and you get to dodge them. It's a stealth game now. Okay. Yeah, I'm only using it now because when I'm spinning, I'm invincible. Well, I damage enemies, so I can go through them. But this effect is limited in time, so you don't want to start it too early because the spin would not last long enough, so you would not be able to go through the last set of enemies. And here, there is no other way than using 2 spin dashes to go through all these slopes, because there's too many upward slopes, and you would lose too much momentum from going up them. So yeah, there's no other way than using 2. And now, again, you got the idea. We use death as a shortcut. We only have to do room number 1 now. We have all the red jewels, so this is close to complete. Yeah. In case you don't know, the command for spin dash, you have to charge by pressing B and keeping it, and then press LR, LR, in that order. If you start with R, it does not have any effect. So that's why you have to compel yourself to start with L. And fun fact, in the Japanese version, spin dash is much more annoying to do, because it's not LR, LR twice for each button, it's 10 times each button, which sucks. Which is really, really slow. And that makes some strategies not worth it anymore. Yeah, I already told you in the beginning of this run that the Japanese version is much slower, mostly because of text. But Actually, it has 2 skips which are exclusive to it, but both of them are pretty minor, to be honest. That they don't really change much. There's not really gonna make the game faster in Japanese. Yes, 10 times. LR, 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 LR. 10 times every button. It's really horrible. It's a really good thing that they changed that. Because this guy is the jackal. He's the guy that who was supposed to be following us along all the way, and we only meet now. But we kind of forgot about him. Yes, it's god-awful, it really is. Especially in the pyramid, there are some strategies involving spin dash which are not really good anymore, since it's so long to do. Okay, now, after this cutscene... Oh, by the way, this cutscene is something. Ah! Kara! Kara! Imagine being a kid and watching this. Like I did. And the exclusive glitch would make the run a bit faster if it weren't for the very, very slow text boxes. Now I'm gonna have to put all 6 not red gems, what's the name, Hieroglyph stones in the proper order. Okay, that was not too bad. So the order is basically the exact same as the order of the 6 doors, actually. And if you don't remember what the order is, there's another way that the game wants you to have. In the previous city, in Dao, there was an NPC who gave you your father's journal, and you can find the proper order of the 6 symbols there. So this is what you would do in casual play. But fortunately, in the speedrun, it's always the same order, so you just have to know it. Okay, boss time. Please come down. Okay, she's coming down. So that's good RNG to start with, at least, because she could have trolled and summoned bricks coming from the top, and that kind of sucks. This is not a very hard boss, but if she decides to troll you, she can troll you very hard. Because I can only be hit once. I'm so under-leveled now that I can only take 1 hit. Even with all my health, I think she hits for 17 health points, if I remember correctly. So you see, the way I'm moving is an attempt to manipulate where she's going to reform. I want her to alternate sides, and also be high enough. Because if she comes too low, it's going to be much harder to move around and dodge her. So I'm alternating sides by starting with the left side, because now she is susceptible to do the second form, which is this. She forms a ring of spirits, and I'm supposed to hit the one spirit which is not flashing. But fortunately, the good spirit is always the one that appears in the bottom left. So it's not a surprise. Ah, okay, 2 non-rings, that's pretty unlucky. I'm gonna do the swag finish with an aura glitch. Ta-da! Yeah, as it was the last hit, I did the swag finish, and I killed her at the first possible frame with the aura glitch. Okay, so we beat this boss. It was pretty good. There were 2 non-rings. So after you have hit her 8 times, for the remaining 6 times she can do the spinning circle of spirits, and that happens 75% of the time. But it's still pretty unlikely to have it for all 6 hits. And every time she does not do it, you lose 6 seconds, because yeah, the ring is much faster than her other move. So yeah, RNG is also a thing for that boss. So there I basically lost 12 seconds over a perfect fight. That's not too bad. Okay, a bit over 157 after leaving in the plane, so I think... Yeah, I don't know if this can still 213. Maybe it can, but I'm gonna need to be really lucky. Yeah, this is like a high 213, low 214, maybe mid 214 if the rest is not too good. We'll see. I'm not too aware of the times. We'll see. Okay, this is the final dungeon. Well, it's not a real dungeon. There are no enemies. It's more a boss rush. We're basically gonna refight upgraded versions of all 5 bosses. So this is what we're gonna do now. And there, by touching this laser wall, an item drops out of the flute, and it's a ring. It's a dark ring, by the way. There, oh my god, Kara, she followed me. Now, she explained that when we were on the gold ship, she stole another ring from the queen there. So now we both have a ring, and mine is dark and hers is light. So basically that has a meaning. It means that the two of us have a special role to play in that big story. We've been chosen for some reason. You can also feel like some other events in the game are due to that. Like in Nazca in the desert, I activated a secret tile with my flute, so it's probably the power of the ring, this kind of thing. You can debate what the meaning of all that is. So this is a rematch of the first boss. So fortunately we're gonna refight all the bosses with the shadows, so that's gonna make it much easier. I was hit twice, that's kinda sucks. Anyway, at least this one was a 1 cycle. Not getting 1 cycle here really sucks, and it happened in my any percent PV. I'm not really proud of that. I still have 1 error, but yeah, just 1, so I don't want to take too much damage. Okay, second boss is Viper. Again, Viper is going to be blown off really quickly with Shadow, because you hit for 3 HP instead of just 1. That makes this boss a breeze. Yeah, that was really quick. The next stop is the vampires. The vampires refight is a little bit different from the previous fight, because this time the vampires themselves have a hitbox. Their body has a hitbox, so if I touch them I will take damage. So I will use the aura glitch quite extensively to try to damage them as much as possible. So I really don't want to take too much damage in this fight, so I'm going to try to play it a bit safe. The refights are not too difficult, but I have sort of limited health for all of them, and after that I will still have to do the secret dungeon and the final boss. Everything, if possible, without refilling my health. So let's see how this one goes. Okay, a funny thing, that's probably a glitch or an oversight or something. When they do their big duo attack, they turn back into their previous form, which is incorrect. They're supposed to be blue, but they turn back into their... Okay, that was not bad. Their purple form. So that's probably an oversight from the developers. That was a good fight. It was decently lucky. Okay, so that's done. I was hit only once. Having more than half my health is a good thing at this point. Okay. Trollfanger number 2. Please don't be a jerk like last time. Please. Okay, jerk time. Okay, he's a jerk, at least for now. I really want to have at least one egg drop in the fight. Oh, there it is! He decided to be nice. Oh, this isn't. 2 more hits. Okay, having it once is not too bad. Ah, this thing hit me. Okay. Okay. I'll take that. We've beaten the 4th boss, so there's only 1 remaining. And, oh, Kara disappeared. What happened? Oh, this boss is nice now. He's actually helping me for some reason. Maybe they were running out of sprites or something. After you've beaten bosses, they become nice to you and they start helping you. You're climbing all the way to the top of the Babel Tower because that's the only way you can reach the Comet of Chaos. Yeah, that's the point of the whole story all along. I'm gonna explain that after. Before we have to refight. Ah, okay. You have to listen closely. Oh, come on! I didn't hit her. I'm so dumb. That's pretty bad. Okay, there we go. That was funny. I thought that I hit her and then I dropped down. Whatever. This fight is supposed to be harder than the previous one, but in the speedrun it's much easier because you don't have those annoying blocks here in the middle of the bottom row. So manipulating her is easier. And also she's supposed to do more damage to me, but she does actually way less because I've caught up on a lot of upgrades that I missed. And when I fought her the first time, I was super underleveled. So now she doesn't hit me for as much as she did, as her previous version did. Okay, so now please do the rings. 2 rings, 3 rings, 4 rings, 5 rings, 6 rings. Oh, perfect RNG. Well, the beginning was bad, but after it got better. Having 6 rings is pretty unlikely and it's the best scenario, so that's cool. That's cool. I'm gonna use my last herb. We have half our health, so yeah, it's a bit dangerous. But I'm gonna still try to do the secret dungeon with that. That should be enough, and the final boss. The final boss is gonna be done with the remaining of my health. If I don't have enough, I will heal at Gaia before the final boss. So here we go back to Dao and get the last red jewels. And so here with this mini game, I'm gonna get the last 2 red jewels. So you can guess how many snakes I'm gonna hit. So, yeah, the people who know about Original Gaia know that this is sort of a thing. It's usually more than 90. I'm gonna go with 96. You can guess if you want. Oh, yeah, this is not so good. Probably not gonna be 100. You're only supposed to hit 30 of them, so it's really easy to do. Even if I play poorly, I'm gonna win by a long shot, so I'm not worried about that. Doing this strat for a long time is difficult. It gets really tiresome. Yeah, 92, that was not really good. So did somebody have it? Riverwind, Josh Butcher, you got it, but I don't know if you cheated or not. I'm gonna assume you did. Okay, we got all the jewels. So this is a secret dungeon. So the monsters here are rehashes from Diamond Mine monsters. They're just much stronger versions. And this and Mount Temple are the two only dungeons in the game where lag is an issue. So I'm gonna kill enemies that I don't have to kill, but killing extra enemies is gonna help a lot with lag. And it's good to kill them early also. Okay, I don't need to kill anymore. Yeah, there's no remaining lag now. Ah, this guy is always a troll. Okay, I didn't need to kill them, but I hated them. Come on, get out of here. Aw, the trolls are so real. Okay, whatever. And, hey, I know this guy! Shoutouts to the people who know Soul Blazer. So this is Solid Arm, the first Soul Blazer boss. If you try to fight him normally it's a difficult boss, but fortunately we have a strat. Just do this. It's not super easy to do because after he's pushed you, you have to go back and not advance too much or you would be sucked in the conveyor belt and that would bring you to him, which is pretty bad. But this was a decent fight. So yeah, the story behind Gem and the secret dungeon and everything. Gem was actually this guy. He was Solid Arm in disguise, and he was looking for the red gem in order to retrieve his ancient power. And so he is at the origin of the whole slavery thing also. That's what I gathered from that. He wanted slaves to work in mines in order to find the red jewels. So yeah, he's at the origin of all that. Yeah, if you know the game, and there's a lot of little things that are connected to each other. For instance, you might know that the memory melody that you learn in Diamond Mine is actually the same melody that the background music for Angkor Wat. That's because the slaves, most of them come from Cambodia, where Angkor Wat is. Yeah, that's the general area of the natives village. Remember all the starving people. Yeah, Blazer is the hero of Soul Blazer. That's what he meant. He probably doesn't remember how fast he was skilled in Soul Blazer. Okay, I'm going to receive the last plot element. The mystic statue is supposed to just mark your progress through the game, and here we have the last one. So now I'm eligible to raise the final power to defeat the final enemy. So this spirit is my father's spirit, by the way. He explains to me the whole story, or at least the backstory, what happened in the world. There was this comet, and the comet of chaos, which brought a lot of undesirable energy to the world, and it altered its normal course of evolution. So it explains that people were not evolving the way they were supposed to. Instead of that, they were using the energy of the comets to make bad things like demons, make weapons, things that were bad to the general evolution of humanity. So by defeating the Comet of Chaos, we're gonna resume Earth's normal course of evolution. That's the story, more or less. And only the power of the fiber that I just awoke can defeat Dark Gaia. This is probably not a 213. Assuming I don't die. We'll see. No, this is definitely not a 213. Okay, this boss has two phases. Oh! I'm not equipped. First I have to defeat just this phase. This is a little bit boring. Just hit, you only have one opportunity to hit per phase, and then he drops his acid rain. When you hear the 7th acid rain drop, when you hear it, you can use the aura, and that would give you enough invincibility time to dodge the rest of the rain. That's my strat. So yeah, this first phase is a bit dull, I concede it, but the second phase is more interesting. I think it's the last hit, right? Yeah, it's the last hit, so I do the swag kill with the aura glitch. Okay, so this boss, if I'm lucky, it's gonna be a 3 cycle. 5 hits, okay, so that's a good start. That's nice. If you're lucky, you can hit her 5 times per phase. You can only hit her when she's about to spit her giant laser at you. So when I see that she turns vulnerable, I hit 5 times and then use the aura immediately to dodge the big laser. Okay, only 4. I need 5 hits in order to have 3 cycle. Unfortunately, it's sort of random because when she becomes vulnerable, you have basically enough time to hit 5 times. So it depends on exactly when she turns vulnerable, and you cannot really predict that moment. And also, due to the general lag which is going on with all the blue things... Yes! Time! So with all the general lag, it is possible that some of your hits do not connect at all. So that's a bit trolly, but there's not much you can do anyway. Especially if the blue balls are up in the air, you cannot even damage them. So this was a 3 cycle, it was pretty lucky. And this run is actually less than 2 minutes slower than my personal best, so I'm pretty happy about this run. It's a good run for a marathon, definitely. Yeah, definitely happy with this. Too bad it's not a 2:13, but yeah, 2:14.05 is really more than correct, I would say. Yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks for the GGs. That really makes me happy. So that was IOG. Hope you enjoyed. This game also has an any-person run, which is not much slower. It's not much faster, I mean. It's faster by about 12 minutes. You don't collect any of the red jewels, and it makes the second half of the run significantly harder because you don't have any upgrade from gem. So you don't have especially the extra attack point, the defense point, health point, and the extra herb. So it makes it much harder to complete. But it's also a really good run as well. And some dungeons, especially Angkor Wat and the Pyramid, have a slightly different route. So if you want to see more about IOG speedrunning, you can check that out. It's also worth your while. And overall, I think my any-person run is better than my 100% PB. It was luckier and better executed overall. But anyway. So yeah, I'm just going to be back in 30 seconds. I have a sore throat, I have to drink some water. Alright, I'm back.